JBN, we keep you informed. Man killed by mob after robbing a woman. A 25-year-old man from Washington Gardens, Kingston 20, was killed by an angry mob in Portmore after he was accused of robbing a woman of her handbag and a cell phone yesterday, Thursday, March 19. The police said Conroy McDonald died from injuries he received after he was beaten. The Portmore CIB is investigating. Guidance counselor killed, 2 others injured in Trelawney gun attack. Police investigators in Trelawney are yet to make a breakthrough into Tuesday night's shooting, which left a guidance counselor dead and 2 other persons injured in the parish. The deceased has been identified as 26-year-old Andre Hall of Wakefield in the parish. Reports are that about 9 p.m. Hall was among a group of persons at a shop in his community when they were pounced upon by unknown men who opened gunfire. Hall and 2 other men received gunshot injuries and were taken to the Falmouth General Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. He was the guidance counselor at Catherine Hall Primary School in Montego Bay, St. James. The Trelawney police have recorded 7 homicides since the beginning of 2020. Senton Igla stabbed to death in dispute. The Senton police have launched a search for a man who fatally stabbed a Igla during a dispute in Pimento Walk in the parish on Tuesday. The deceased has been identified as 35-year-old Damian Henry, otherwise called Gaza, of Pimento Walk. According to reports, at about 6:50 p.m., Henry and another man were involved in a dispute on a football field. During the feud, a knife was reportedly used by the man to stab Henry to the upper body. His attacker then fled the scene. The wounded man was assisted to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead. A probe is ongoing into the incident. St. James security guard in custody following bizarre incident. A St. James-based security guard is now under police guard at the Conroy Regional Hospital after being forcibly subdued and disarmed during an altercation with the police in Montego Bay yesterday. The police reported that personnel from the St. James Motorized Patrol Unit responded to a distress call at the St. James office of the Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, PICA, in Overton Plaza, after reports emerged that the security guard, who had been working there for over a year, began behaving erratically, hurling abuses and destroying property. The guard, who is employed to a private security company, reportedly then made his way to a pharmacy where he consumed unprescribed medication, according to the police. Support was provided by the St. James Quick Response Team and an operations support team. When the police arrived on the scene, the man reportedly threatened the team and later barricaded himself in a small room inside the pharmacy. The police, after approximately 15 minutes of negotiating with the guard, the team gained entry into the room, subdued and disarmed him without firing a single shot. His licensed Glock pistol was seized by the police during the process. Based on the preliminary investigations, the man was taken to the Conroy Regional Hospital for immediate treatment and mental health examination. Truck driver charged for illegal possession of a firearm and ammunition. 32-year-old truck driver Andre Rodriguez is set to appear before the St. Catherine Parish Court on Tuesday, March 24, to answer to charges of illegal possession of a firearm and ammunition. According to the police, Rodriguez, who is of Chedwin Gardens in St. Catherine, was arrested on Tuesday after a team of officers working in the St. Catherine State of Public Emergency area conducted an operation in the community. Lawmen said a Smith & Wesson .357 Magnum revolver loaded with 6.38 cartridges was removed from a section of the roof of a house during a search. 12 9mm cartridges were also seized in the incident. Rodriguez was later arrested in connection with the seizure and subsequently charged. 2 tourists died in separate incidents in Mobe. Foul play and the novel coronavirus disease COVID-19 have been ruled out in the death of a 39-year-old American woman whose body was discovered in her hotel room at RIU Montego Bay by workers on Wednesday. We cannot assure the cause, but she wasn't exhibiting any COVID-19 symptoms, so we don't think she died because of COVID-19, a senior RIU worker said. The police who are investigating will have to await an autopsy to determine the cause of death, the employee continued. The American has been identified as Kimberly McCarthy of a Massachusetts address. McCarthy reportedly arrived in the island via the Sangster International Airport on March 13. The room in which she was staying was not cleaned for 2 consecutive days, as a do not disturb sign had hung on the door. On the 3rd day, the body was discovered by a worker who went to clean the room. The client had been with the do not disturb sign on the bedroom door for 3 days. On the 3rd day, which was Wednesday, March 18, and as established by the security protocol, the assigned cleaner opened the door after knocking several times, and as soon as she entered the door, she saw the client lying on the bed without breathing. When the nurse arrived, she certified the death of the client, a statement from RIU said. According to a usually reliable police source, investigators have ruled out foul play. The statement from RIU also noted that the Jamaica Hotel and the Tourists Association and the United States Embassy have been in contact with the American's family for the repatriation of the body and the belongings. The family also awaits the result of the pertinent autopsy. The cause of death is unknown, the RIU statement said. Meanwhile, the dreaded COVID-19 disease was also not the cause of the death of an elderly British cruise passenger who reportedly died on the Marella Discovery 2, 6 days before the vessel homeported in Jamaica on Tuesday. The British national was identified as Philip Turnock, reportedly died on March 11. Preliminary examination indicated that he died as a result of a heart attack. Man allegedly beaten after sneezing on bus. A 38-year-old farmer from Betheltown, Westmoreland, said that he was beaten and thrown off a bus on Monday after he sneezed multiple times and was accused of carrying the deadly COVID-19. Garnet Blair said that his body swollen and sore all over from the sound trashing he got from the angry mob. "Me can't believe that nobody can sneeze in Jamaica again," Blair said in a trembling voice. He said that after carrying goods to the Charles Garden Market in Montego Bay, he took a minibus back home. The bus reached Chester Castle, and me kind of feel stuffy. So me sneeze, and all of a sudden me see everybody start look for me, and a pull away from beside me, he said. Blair said that he told them that he had always been troubled by sinus problems, but after he sneezed twice more soon after, hell broke loose. Before me could open my mouth, a pure lick start reach me. Woman a beat me and man a beat me. Me have to use my hands to cover my eyes so them not juke them out. All them a say, "Hey boy, come off of the bus with your coronavirus self," Blair said. And when the driver say them go fi kill me, him pull upon the side of the road and stop. And then him holler upon them, I tell them to leave me alone. All the driver tell the passenger them say him know me, and also me always a sneeze them say they not travel with me and me have to come off of the bus. He said that he was pushed from the bus and had to walk more than 10 miles to his home. He said that he bathed himself in warm water and is vowing that he will not travel again until the COVID-19 threat was over. Cornpeace Clarendon under lockdown. Approximately 250 residents of Cornpeace settlement in Hayes, Clarendon were yesterday placed under quarantine following the death of a 79-year-old man from the community who tested positive for the novel coronavirus COVID-19. The disclosure was made by Prime Minister Andrew Holness last evening, shortly after his budget presentation in the Parliament, where he also informed the House that the country had confirmed another case of COVID-19, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 16. Holness said the decision to quarantine a section of the rural community was taken after the family members of the deceased refused to cooperate with the Ministry of Health and Wellness MOHW officials, having been in contact with several residents in the area since their arrival in the island on March 12. He noted that on Wednesday, a public health team visited Cornpeace, where family members were generally uncooperative and refused to be quarantined without documented proof that the deceased had tested positive for COVID-19. The ministry said that this is the first confirmed COVID-19 related death in the island. The police were informed and dispatched to the community to allow the public health team to enforce the home quarantine order. Signs and symptoms detection log was conducted and contact elicitation was facilitated. Based on the preliminary assessment of the household contacts, there are no family members and friends who are febrile, that is, showing the symptoms of a fever and symptomatic of the COVID-19 virus infection. Based on the above report, there are several contacts for the deceased in the Cornpeace settlement area. These persons would have been exposed to a symptomatic person and have a high risk for infection. The signs and symptoms detection log that was conducted shows that all are without symptoms presently. The persons so exposed may be incubating the virus. It is critical that they are monitored closely within the next 14 days, Holness told legislators. He stressed that early detection of symptoms will allow for early isolation and prevention of transmission of the virus. At this time, we are unsure of the number of persons in the community that have been so exposed and require that the community and the family comply with the quarantine order to conduct the necessary contact tracing and investigations. The uncooperativeness of the family members and reluctance to adhere to quarantine orders signal the need for escalation to enforcement of the order by security forces, he said. Holness added that in collaboration with the health authorities, the Director General of the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management has given directives to regulate the movement of people, animals, and vehicles into, out of, and within quarantine effectively, placing the community under a quarantine for the next 14 days to allow for the public health investigations to continue. The deceased arrived in the island from New York on JetBlue flight number 2959. He was accompanied by his wife, son, and a grandson. Holness said the man reportedly stayed at home from his arrival until his visit to the hospital on Monday. During his time at home, he had several visitors from several homes within the community, a time when he would have been most infectious. This included family members from 2 other households within the same community. He was taken to the Lionel Town Hospital after he started experiencing shortness of breath and fever. Based on his deteriorating condition, he was transferred to the Mandeville Regional Hospital for continued management, said Holness. In the meantime, the Prime Minister said the latest confirmed patient, who also has a travel history from New York on March 10, 2020, has been isolated at the St. Anne's Bay Hospital since Tuesday. He added that there are 39 people currently in isolation at hospitals across the island, 25 in government quarantine facilities, and 99 under in-home quarantine. Of the 16 confirmed cases, 11 are imported, and 5 were contacts of the first patient, patient 1. Of the 11 imported cases, 6 are Jamaicans. He said contact tracing and monitoring are underway for the confirmed cases, and 577 contacts are being followed. Holness said that since the advent of the first case, the ministry has conducted 80 tests with a positive yield of 20%. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember, subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.